A boy believed to be missing for years is still out there after DNA proves Timothy Pitson still has not been found.
Plus, someone says they witnessed elder abuse in Racine. We have the CBS 58 exclusive.
Family and friends react to the sentencing of a man who played a role in the death of a Milwaukee police officer.
You're watching the CBS 58 News at 9 on the end.
I'm disappointed that this appears to be either a hoax or some person that's obviously lying about who he was.
The family of Timothy Pitson devastated after the FBI's stunning announcement that the claim he had been found was a hoax.
The FBI announcing today DNA results revealed a person claiming to be 14-year-old Timothy Pitson is not him. Police in Kentucky say the person is actually a 23-year-old man. CBS 58's Brittany Lewis live in Antioch, where Pitson's family members spoke after the FBI's announcement. Brittany?
Timothy Pitson's aunt and grandmother said this news was devastating and that it's like reliving the day he was reported missing all over again. Walking next to each other toward a stand of microphones, Timothy's aunt,
on behalf of Timothy's family,
and grandma,
we've been hopeful, alternately hopeful,
described a hopeful but frightening 24 hours.
Unfortunately, this child is not our beloved Timothy.
That ended in devastation.
Timothy's father is devastated once again.
As are we. You know, I was very close to Tim. He spent a lot of time here. The last morning I had him, he crawled in bed with me and told me I was the best grandma in the whole wide world. So he's a wonderful little boy, and I hope he has the strength of personality to do whatever he needs to do to find us.
According to police in Newport, Kentucky, the person who claimed to be a 14-year-old Timothy Pitson, who had escaped two men that held him captive, is actually a 23-year-old man from Ohio. He has been identified as Brian Michael Reaney. Police have not shared information about his motive for saying he was Pitson.
Well, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that this appears to be either a hoax or some person that's obviously lying about who he was.
Sergeant Bill Rowley with the Aurora Police Department says they've investigated thousands of tips on where Timothy may have been or what happened to him, but he could not recall having anyone ever say they were Timothy.
I hope that someday we're able to find young Timothy and find out where he was and what happened to him so that we can reunite that family again.
A family.
We know that you are out there somewhere, Tim.
That says they will never stop looking.
Praying for you and loving you.
For Timothy. So far, no charges have been filed against the man who claimed to be Pitson. Reporting in Antioch, Brittany Lewis, CBS 58 News.
Brittany, thank you. The real Timothy Pitson has been missing for nearly 8 years.
Yeah, take a look at these photos. The picture on the left is what Timothy looked like in 2011. The photo on the right is what he might look like today. The day Timothy disappeared, his mother picked him up from school in Aurora, Illinois. They headed to Wisconsin Dells the next day. And this is the last video of mother and son together. It shows Amy Fry Pitson and Timothy checking out of the Kalahari Resort. Timothy is seen holding her hand.
Timothy's mother was found dead the next day. She killed herself in a Rockford motel room. She left a note saying Timothy was safe. She said she left him in the care of unnamed people, but that no one would find him.
I am hopeful, and certainly hope that if Tim is in a place where he has communication with the media or a computer, that he'll remember us enough to look for us someday, and I think he will.
Stay with CBS 58 as we learn more about the man who pretended to be Timothy Pitson. You can find interviews with the families, details on Timothy's disappearance on our website, cbs58.com.
The groundbreaking is done, but the work is just getting started. What the president's trip to Wisconsin means moving forward.
And you might see a lot of electric scooters around the city. They're illegal. What the city hopes can be done about what they say is a problem.
You're watching the CBS 58 News at 9 on the end.
Shovels in the ground for the new Foxconn plant in Racine County.
President Donald Trump joined Governor Scott Walker, House Speaker Paul Ryan, and others to break ground on a project that promises to put thousands of people to work. 10,000 in construction-related jobs and another 13,000 jobs in the plant by the time the complex is complete. Foxconn has drawn criticism both for the billions of dollars in incentives and for the impact it'll have on some people who live nearby. After today's groundbreaking, the president spoke for about 45 minutes. He says building the plant will take less time compared to other projects of this size.
You have people that wanted to build a plant like this. It would have taken them 25 years to get approvals. 25 years. They got them almost immediately. And the federal government had a lot to say. We had to get going.
The president thanked a number of people involved, but gave a special thanks to Governor Scott Walker for making Foxconn a reality in Wisconsin.
During the speech, the president touched on several other subjects, including a controversy with a local company.
Harley Davidson, please build those beautiful motorcycles in the USA, please, okay? Don't get cute with us. Don't get cute.
The president did not openly criticize Harley for its announcement that it would build some motorcycles overseas because of new tariffs. He did, however, say if Harley does build overseas, customers would not be happy.
The president's visit brought out several groups of protesters. Hundreds gathered at Smolensky Park in Mount Pleasant. They then walked to City Hall and back. One local activist group blocked the 794 off-ramp into downtown Milwaukee, protesting family separation at the border. They blocked the interstate for more than half an hour. Local leaders also took a stance in the fight for 15.
It's a pure giveaway. It's really, it's all on the side of Foxconn and really not much on the side of taxpayers.
We were not going to accept business as usual, having Trump come here while the nation and the world is witnessing modern-day internment camps.
We have not heard of any arrests related to these protests.
Historic day, yet opinions on Foxconn remain divided. CBS 58's David Schumann live at the company's Opus building with a breakdown of what today's ceremony might mean for Wisconsin. David.
This was a celebration, something a political scientist we spoke to today says President Trump excels in overseeing. He called the ceremony symbolic of current American politics in that it elicited a reaction. You either love it or hate it.
It's one of the most advanced places of any kind you'll see anywhere in the world. It's incredible.
This is Donald Trump at his best, UWM professor Mordecai Lee says.
President Trump is a TV performer, and he's fabulous at it. Today he really showed how good he is at capturing the visual aspect of news and conveying good news.
The president and other high-profile Republicans lauded the groundbreaking as a major victory. Wisconsin voters remain more skeptical. 46% of people in Marquette Law School's latest poll don't think Foxconn is worth the state's investment in it. 40% do. The answer will likely hinge on whether the projection of 13,000 jobs created comes to fruition.
Talking about 13,000 jobs is about the long term. In the present term, it's going to be relatively small and it's going to be relatively limited to southeast Wisconsin.
But as Lee says, the president exclusively deals in the present. Lee says it's what allows Trump to put aside past differences with Governor Scott Walker.
He is an unbelievably talented guy. I'm telling you, Scott Walker.
Mr. Trump kept talking about what bad shape Wisconsin was in, and he criticized Walker. And today they're buddies.
You got the ball rolling. Foxconn would not be in America if not for you.
Every Democratic candidate for governor is against Foxconn. Lee says the tricky part for them is to oppose the project without sounding like they're also against jobs being created. Reporting live, David Schumann, CBS 58 News.
David, thank you. If you're interested, you can take an early look at the new Foxconn facility. 2 open houses set up for the Opus building. It's near where 94 and Highway 20 meet. One open house tomorrow from 10 to 7, the other Saturday 10 to 4. More coverage from the president's visit on our website, cbs58.com. We have the president's full remarks. We've got video and pictures from the groundbreaking, also reaction from officials.
You're watching the CBS 58 News at 9 on the end.
Strong storms bring strong winds, and it leaves a lot of damage behind across multiple counties tonight.
And just into our newsroom, the Red Cross opening a shelter for storm victims in Fond du Lac County at Brandon Middle School. The address there on your screen. The doors just open at 9 p.m.
We have team coverage for you tonight. CBS 58's Jacob Kittelstad and CBS 58's David Schumann live in Sheboygan County and Dodge County, tracking the damage left behind by today's storms.
CBS 58 meteorologist Justin Thompson-Gee is in Ozaukee County, checking on the threat of flooding there. But we begin with Chief Meteorologist Drew Burgoyne for an update on current conditions. Drew.
Severe thunderstorm watch has been dropped. That's new information for you, but flood warnings have been extended. Let's go right to Ready Doppler. More rain, heavy rain pushing in throughout the southern part of our area. Take a look at Walworth County as we zoom in to Lake Geneva, Elkhorn. Heavy rain, lightning and thunder, not severe, but torrential rainfall there. We're seeing Kenosha, some heavy rain and more scattered showers and thunderstorms moving in. And we're going to see heavier rain pick up throughout Waukesha County as well as Milwaukee County. Steady rain continues to fall throughout the northern part of our area that was hit really hard with damaging winds and tornadoes earlier on today, all the way from Fond du Lac County into Sheboygan County. Now, we do have several flash flood warnings going on. Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, you have been extended until 6:15 tomorrow morning for that flash flood threat. Ozaukee and Washington County, you have also been extended until 6:45 tomorrow morning. Most of the area under that flash flood watch. I do anticipate some additional flash flood warnings to be issued, especially as that heavy rain starts to push in. So how long is that rain going to be around? We'll see continued scattered showers and thunderstorms through midnight tonight, but then after midnight, a real push of that heavy rain is going to move out. We'll still see scattered showers overnight into tomorrow morning. We start with temperatures in the 60s throughout the afternoon. That rain moves out. Clouds and some sunshine will be expected, but talk about a totally different day. Upper 80s today. Tomorrow, we will struggle to get to 70 degrees, but thankfully it looks like we will have a couple of days to dry out, and folks are going to need that, especially with some of the damage that occurred earlier. We will take you back to radar and show you several possible tornadoes that were impacting our area. We'll talk about that and warmer temperatures for the weekend coming up in your CBS 58 Ready Weather.
Thanks, Drew. You can keep track of severe weather, watch radar maps, and track current conditions with the CBS 58 Ready Weather app. It's free for both Apple and Android devices. Hundreds of trees are down in the small village of Brownsville. There and Lomira are the hardest hit areas in Dodge County. CBS 58's Jacob Kittelstad was the first reporter on scene. He joins us live just off Highway 49 with a look at the damage. Jacob.
And just to demonstrate to you how powerful the winds were out here this afternoon, take a look at this metal sheet wrapped around this pole. I've been talking to people in the area. They tell me they think it came all the way from a farm about a half-mile north of here. Vehicles come to a stop on the interstate as a possible tornado crosses I-41 near Lomira. Once past, the damage is everywhere. A boat is blown into a garden, a barn is knocked over, and trees are down all over the place. Some burned and shattered by lightning, but most blown over, roots pulled from the ground.
It's real bad. All those beautiful trees, branches are all broken. It was very loud. I taped a lot of it to my phone too.
Oh my God, a tree just fell down out front. Oh my God.
I didn't see any of them fall because it was raining so hard. It was like whiteout.
Go by the Welcome to Brownsville sign and the damage worsens. Men work on roofs while corn lays down in the field, pushed that way due to the severe weather. It also pushed this semi off the road, and some people say they actually watched the tornado come through.
It came through here with a funnel and ripped off the whole corner of the bull barn that I have here.
And across the street, Gwen Christensen, who's lived here for more than 30 years, she's still trying to calm down after this 50-some-foot tree fell on her home.
It was a really tall tree, but I never expected to see this much damage. I never saw anything like it before.
And we have seen power crews crisscrossing this area. However, you look out in the farm fields, there are major, large power lines that have been downed in the winds here today. Those could take much longer to repair. Reporting live in Brownsville, Jacob Kittelstad, CBS 58 News.
Thank you, Jacob. Severe weather wreaked havoc in Sheboygan County as well.
CBS 58's David Schuman live in the village of Cascade, where the sheriff's office has asked people to stay out of the area. David.
Look at what the storms did to this couple's rummage sale, just ransacked, and they also have this massive tree in their yard. There's no power on the street. This is the kind of thing we've been seeing all afternoon and early evening as we've toured through Sheboygan County.
We have a number of trees down here. The power's out.
I came out immediately and started snapping photos once the rain stopped.
It's pretty cool to see, but we'll be working at it for a while, cleaning it all up.
Nearly all the trees lining that man's long driveway came down in the strong winds. The trees actually prevented the house from taking any damage, so that was good. Messes like this one here were commonplace all along the back roads of the village of Waldo in Sheboygan County. Out on the highways, too, there were overturned semi-trucks and trailers. What we saw everywhere, though, were neighbors, strangers, whoever it was, helping the people clearly in need.
We've probably had about 10, 15 people stop already, ask everything's okay. We've even had a sheriff officer was the first one here, just to help out. And definitely the communication between neighbors is very healthy, and that's what you kind of get with Hingham in a small town like this.
Here in Cascade, emergency crews are still working on downed power poles. Village Hall is right down the road from here, and they had 2 trees uprooted right in their front yard. Definitely a night to stay inside and stay safe. Reporting live, David Schumann, CBS 58 News.
David, thank you. Ozaukee County is one of the places hardest hit by rain and storms of the past 3 days. Meteorologist Justin Thompson-Gee continues team coverage with an update on flooding there. Justin.
Hey, Bill, we are on Shoreland Parkway. That's just off of Highland Road in Mequon. This is an area that is literally right next to the Milwaukee River. The river right now, the latest flood depth or latest river depth is about 12 feet. Now, it is expected to rise another 2.5 feet, which would be a record. A lot of these neighbors kind of remember the flood from 10 years ago, 2008. That's when the Milwaukee River here in Ozaukee County did hit a record level that was around 14 feet. And they say it's just kind of all about neighbors coming together to help neighbors.
There's a lot of good neighbors here. They come, they go down the road, they give people rides. That's what I was doing out here tonight. I thought you were a neighbor that needed a ride through the flood. So.
And we thank her for thinking of us as a neighbor and being willing to give us a ride. We're good where we are. Just wanted to show you some of the flooding conditions here. Now, they have, a lot of these neighbors, in fact, have actually pulled their cars out of their driveways and up onto the street just to give them a little bit more of an elevated look. And a lot of these people say they already have nothing in their basements because they are expecting those basements to flood completely. Live in Ozaukee County, meteorologist Justin Thompson-Gee, CBS 58 News.
Justin, thank you. Really coming down in Columbia County. Mark shared this video of the downpour from Pardee-ville.
Corey sent us this video of heavy rain in Adams County near the Jordan Lake area during this afternoon's tornado warning. The storm also brought torrential rain to Ripon. Sean shared this video of the storm around 5 o'clock tonight.
Also in Ripon, because of the tornado warning, all students at Ripon College had to find a way to take shelter in a matter of minutes.
We, issued via our RAVE network, which is a network that both texts and emails all of our faculty, staff, and students in the community that there was a tornado warning and that you had to take shelter, and thankfully everybody did.
The all clear was given to students about 3 hours after the warning was issued.
Extensive outages still being reported across most of our viewing area. This is the We Energies map. It shows right now more than 22,000 people still without power.
Our live coverage on the storms continues throughout the hour. You can also find video, photos of the damage, some interviews, and much more on our website, CBS58.com.
Governor-elect Tony Evers is already facing opposition from Republican lawmakers.
Outgoing Governor Scott Walker conceded the race this afternoon. Evers beat Walker by a razor-thin margin, about 31,000 votes. Now Republican leadership talking about stripping Evers of his power even before he's sworn in.
CBS 58's Mark McPherson joins us live in Milwaukee with Evers' response. Mark.
Yeah, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos said in a statement today, suggested that if Governor-elect Evers wants to work with the Republican-controlled legislature, it could be an uphill battle.
I'm proud and humbled to stand here as the next governor of the state of Wisconsin.
Governor-elect Tony Evers is celebrating a win in a very tight race.
And I just received a gracious call from Governor Walker.
Governor Walker conceded to Evers in a phone call Wednesday afternoon.
It was very gracious and talked about the transition and how his staff will be available for our staff to create the new government.
But any talk of unity might be short-lived.
This afternoon, I also reached out to Majority Leader Fitzgerald and Speaker Vos, and I'm eager to begin work with them.
Assembly Speaker Robin Vos released a statement saying while they will do their best to find common ground, Evers' win cannot be seen as a mandate for change. He says Republicans will continue to deliver on conservative promises. And according to a new report, Voss says Republicans will look into the idea of voting to limit Evers' power even before he's sworn in. Evers' campaign fired back Wednesday, saying Voss is doubling down on division and said, quote, "These are the same desperate antics of politicians hell-bent on staying in power after 8 years.
We have won last night, but the race is now over, and now it is time for us to come together."
It's an early sign that Evers' time as governor may not be smooth sailing. Now, Republicans controlled both houses of the legislature coming into the midterms. Not a single Republican incumbent lost their seat last night. Bill.
Mark, what's the latest out of Governor Walker's office?
Yeah, the last we heard from the governor today is when he conceded the race and announced he would not seek a recount. He said in a statement that he thanked his family and his campaign workers. He also thanked Evers for what he called a gracious phone call, and he offered Governor-elect Evers the support of his staff and his cabinet during the transition. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Mark McPherson, CBS 58 News.
Thank you very much. Milwaukee election officials explaining why thousands of absentee ballots weren't counted until late last night. Around 2,000 out of the 47,000 absentee ballots were damaged. They had to be reconstructed. Damage can include marking X's on ballots or writing in pencil, or damage from the mailing process. It's something the Election Commission says slows them down when voter turnout is high.
If you think about the volume of voters at polling places who have ballots that are rejected by the voting machine because the voter has made some sort of error on that ballot, that same process occurs at central count, except the voter is not there.
All election results have been counted and reported to the counties. Results for the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County are included in that. They've been reported as well. There were some ballot issues in New Berlin. City clerk says machines in District 2 couldn't transfer results to Waukesha County because a memory stick malfunctioned. New memory sticks were brought in. Election officials fed the ballots through new machines and successfully transmitted the results.
In a race just as close as the governor's, Democrat Josh Kaul defeated incumbent Attorney General Brad Schimmel. Here are the numbers. Kaul won by a single percentage point. Today he told CBS 58 healthcare was a big part of his win.
I think there were clear differences on the issues. My opponent is one of the leaders of a lawsuit that's been seeking to invalidate the Affordable Care Act. I think we should be working to expand access to affordable health insurance coverage.
Kaul also says Wisconsin needs what he calls common sense gun safety measures. In the U.S. Senate race, incumbent Democrat Tammy Baldwin holds on to her seat for another 6 years. Baldwin won 55% of the votes against Republican challenger Leah Vukmir. And in the race to replace outgoing House Speaker Paul Ryan's first congressional district seat, Republican Brian Stile wins over Democrat Randy Bryce. The district covers Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth counties. Stile, a former aide to Paul Ryan, captured 55% of the votes.
In the 5th Congressional District, Republican Jim Sensenbrenner retained his seat. Second longest serving member of the House, won 62% of the vote. This is a district west of Milwaukee. Challenger pulled in 38%. Let's go to the 6th District. Congressman Glenn Grothman beat Democrat Dan Cole to hold on to a district that's been in GOP hands since the 1960s. This is the district that covers Ozaki, Fond du Lac, Sheboygan, and a few other counties to our north and west. Several communities were voting on a referenda that would improve or approve money for school districts. That includes Wauwatosa, where voters approved nearly $125 million to go towards updating aging facilities, improving classrooms, and increasing school safety.
People in southeast Wisconsin also voiced their support on legalizing marijuana in some form. Voters in Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha counties, as well as in the cities of Racine and Waukesha, saw questions about marijuana on their ballots. The referendums were only advisory, meaning no action will be taken. CBS 58's Stephanie Buffamonte spoke to officials about what's next. She joins us live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Stephanie.
Officials in Milwaukee and Racine County tell me these advisory referendums are a first step, and there's a lot more work to do. Milwaukee County voters were asked if they'd like to see marijuana legalized. 70% said yes. 16th District Milwaukee County Supervisor Jon Robles sponsored the referendum.
It is very clear now that almost 3/4 of the people want to see some type of legalization of marijuana in the state of Wisconsin.
An overwhelmingly majority of voters in Racine County and the city of Racine also voted in favor of legalizing recreational marijuana and medical marijuana.
One of Racine County's first steps in communicating with the state in this kind of way about this issue.
So what's the next step? Lawmakers in both counties say talking with elected officials in Madison and making it part of the legislative agenda.
So now the question is, are our representatives in Madison going to be responsible to that political will that we the people have clearly articulated?
It's a lot of times we have that conversation about legalization, but what gets lost in the conversation is decriminalization. So if we're going to allow people to make millions of dollars, or we're going to allow drug companies to make money off of it, then we have to make sure that we're investing in our human capital as well and don't let people languish in our jails.
Now, several Wisconsin lawmakers have spoken out against legislation. Republican State Senator Van Wanggaard has said multiple times in the past year that recreational marijuana will not happen in the state as long as he is in the Senate. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Stephanie Buffmonte, CBS 58 News.
Thank you, Stephanie. A surge of voters headed to the polls yesterday. Milwaukee's Election Commission says nearly 80% of registered voters took to the polls in Milwaukee County. Voter turnout nearly 90% in Waukesha County and more than 80% in Washington, Ozaukee, Sheboygan, and Racine counties. Turnout in Kenosha County just under 60%.
We'll take a closer look at how last night's election affected both the House and the Senate in our nation's capital. That story is coming up at 9:30. And of course, CBS 58 is your home for election results. We have the results from more races on our website, CBS58.com. You'll also find more reaction and analysis.
Although each year stands on its own, you can build up confidence, and if you have success one year, it can carry over the other.
The Packers looking to the future after firing head coach Mike McCarthy after 13 seasons. Offensive coordinator Joe Philbin has been named interim head coach. Packers front office and the players talked about the coaching change today. Sports director Kevin Holden joins us now with a look at the next step. Maybe we didn't expect this so soon, Kevin.
I think December 2nd was a bit of a shock. Players too, not just the fans. By firing Mike McCarthy in early December, the Packers get a head start in theory on their coaching search. They can interview candidates now, and Mike McCarthy can look for a new job now. But there are 4 games left to play this year, and the players have a unique perspective. If it's failure that got their coach fired, and the players share some responsibility. Players told CBS 58 Sports today they found out about Mike McCarthy's firing the same way we did, through social media and the team's press release.
Everybody's got a job. You should take it personal every time you lose a game, if that's the case. I mean, I know everybody in here can say that they've done everything they can do to make sure that this team is moving forward, but you kind of go off of the course a little bit, and that happened with this team, and it's unfortunate, but now we are where we are.
And with McCarthy gone in season, there are questions to answer about the Packers both now and in the future. The team's front office answered many of those questions today. CBS 58's Christina Tuso was there.
13 championships. You know, Packers players are continually reminded of the winning tradition here in Green Bay every time they walk through this tunnel and out onto Lambeau Field. After all, Titletown wasn't built on losses, and the end of the Mike McCarthy era had plenty of them. Today, we hear from team president Mark Murphy and GM Brian Gutekunst, who gives us a better idea of what the hiring process will look like. Murphy making it clear that he's in the driver's seat and will make the decision, while his GM will help out in the process. As for Aaron Rodgers, his input is welcomed, but the face of the franchise will have no say in who patrols the Packers sideline next season.
We're in constant communication about how our locker room is and and where that is at. So from that point, obviously, we're not going to consult any of our players on the search and have them a part of it. But at the same time, I think we have a very good feel for our locker room. So that I'll answer it that way.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I'd say, Aaron was no part at all of the decision to move on from Mike.
Correct.
Those are decisions that'll happen down the line, and right now I'm just focused on these next 4 games and the direction we're going with Joe.
The Packers are confident about one thing. This is an attractive position. They have history, tradition, and a future Hall of Fame quarterback to offer. The hiring process is currently underway. They will make their selection not during, but after the regular season. At Lambeau Field, Christina Tuso, CBS 58 Sports.
Coach McCarthy had a lot of success during his 13 years leading the Pack. He even called himself a highly successful NFL coach at one point. Packers made the playoffs 8 straight seasons. McCarthy led the Packers to 4 conference championship games, won only one of them. That was in 2011, of course, NFC Championship against the Bears. 2 weeks later, Packers beat the Steelers to win Super Bowl 45. So with this move, fan reaction anywhere from lukewarm to very approving. A few hundred fans went to Lambeau tonight for an autograph signing. CBS 58's Jacob Kittelstad has the story.
We're past the 24-hour mark for this information coming out, and the fans here tell me that they're still processing it. It's kind of a mix of a little bit of shock mixed with a little bit of knowing expectation it was going to happen. While getting an autograph from the likes of Devontae Adams is a rush, these people say the bigger jolt to their fandom came Sunday.
We were out to dinner.
The notification came through. I'm on the Packers.com.
I was like, are you sure? The whole bar erupted in cheers. It was kind of funny.
I was just on my phone and I just see that Packers, Mike McCarthy got fired. I'm like, what?
Sunday's game was actually Logan Sweetzer's first, and to put Mike McCarthy's career in perspective, Logan was just 2 years old when he was first named head coach.
I am 14 and I live in Arizona, but I've been a lifelong Packer fan, hate the Cardinals. I mean, at first I was really shocked and surprised because it was really quick. He didn't even get to go home by the time he knew, and I mean, it's kind of good because I think teams need a new change, and obviously if they're not clicking, they might need a new change.
This dad has mixed feelings.
And he's like, oh yeah, they let him go. Aren't you excited? I was like, 13 years, and I thought, it was a long time, but, they got to shake it up.
Other fans sense opportunity.
Just something that just wasn't clicking this year.
Nobody wants to see the team stop trying.
Because they're all fighting for jobs for next year now.
And although some fans did toss out some names of potential future head coaches, many just said that they were hoping to a strong finish to the season for this team. Reporting from Lambeau Field, Jacob Kittelstad, CBS 58 News.
So, do you agree with the Packers' decision to fire Mike McCarthy? Join the conversation on our CBS 58 Facebook page, or you could also tweet us at CBS 58. You can also find today's news conferences and more reactions on our website, CBS58.com.